At a scrap recycling yard in Tongrenpu, I came across a massive motorcycle. It looked rough, but it had 4 exhaust pipes, and surprisingly, the engine turned out to be a Honda Inline 4. The paint was completely worn, through the rear was damaged, and parts were missing. But what caught my eye was the cockpit with 3 gauges and a tachometer that goes all the way to 16,000 RPM, plus a factory-painted fairing. That told me this bike was definitely something special. The owner sold it to me by weight at 11.5 yuan per kilo, and there were still 242 jin left, so I bought the whole pile and brought it back. The front wheel was badly bent, the frame had been cut, the mirrors were half ground off, the fuel tank was gone, and the wiring and side stand were cut away. But interestingly, the engine showed no signs of ever being opened or repaired. Put on some gloves first, because now I need to figure out how to bring this thing back to life and make it move again. The front wheel is completely wrecked, and judging by the damage on the exhaust, it looks like the bike went down hard and then slid a long way. No idea how the rider ended up. The rear subframe and wiring were brutally cut off by someone with a torch, so I stripped away all the damaged parts. Now everything depends on the engine. If the internals behind that shattered side cover are still intact, then we've got a real chance to bring this bike back. Take a guess. The cracked side cover actually hid some good news. Everything inside is in great shape, the coils aren't damaged, and even the main clutch components are still intact. Looks like we got seriously lucky this time. Since the engine is not seized, I do not think this will be a big problem, so I kept going and removed the carburetors at first glance. They look fairly clean, but there is aluminum corrosion around the edges. I will deal with that later. For now, I hooked up an external power source to see if I can get it moving again. The engine can still turn, so I don't think there are any major issues inside. Next, we need to fix the wiring and this cover. The cover can't be welded back on, so we'll have to figure out another solution. This little broken part alone cost me over 400, and that's not even including shipping. You wouldn't believe how expensive used parts are for these old machines. With this cover installed, the engine can basically be considered complete. Next, we can start straightening out the wiring. This section here was burned by fire and has already turned sticky, and the wires in the back are basically useless as well. After that, I directly bought a used ignition unit. Just this small broken thing cost me 320. Since this bike no longer has any original connectors, I had no choice but to hardwire everything. But honestly, for me, this bike's electrical system is just basic stuff. That scared me for a second. Just now, this wire somehow touched ground and shorted out, but it's not a big deal. On the bright side, it actually proves that the rest of the circuit is working fine now, so we can move on and start fixing the next part. After sending off the young lady who came to help, I continued working on the carburetor. I opened up its body, and surprisingly, the inside was still pretty clean, especially considering this bike is a 1987 model. I disassembled the carburetor completely and cleaned every single part thoroughly. Once that was done, I tossed all the components into an ultrasonic cleaner for 3 hours. After pulling them out, everything, inside and out, was spotless. I then reassembled the carburetor piece by piece. Finally, by tossing this single carburetor setup into position, it transformed into a 4-carburetor assembly, creating a fully linked system that now satisfies all the fuel flow requirements for proper testing. Now the bike is finally powered up and ready, so we can try starting it. Good luck. It has